Hi y'all, this is House Guest and I am your host, Kenzie Elizabeth. Think a Gen Z wannabe Martha Stewart meets Dolly Parton trying to live in a Nancy Meyers movie in her 20s. We talk all about life, relationships, navigating your 20s, closing out the bars, or waking up at 5 a.m. depending on our vibe that week. Ultimately, living our best lives and figuring it out along the way. So come hang out. Sometimes I have guests on who do really cool things, some of my best friends, or it's just me and my house that I spend way too much time in. So let's get into the show. Hi, house guests. Welcome back to my home. This week, we are doing a little fireside chat in the backyard around the fire. I know, shocker. With my father, Mick Piper, the world's greatest man, my favorite person in the entire world, my bestest friend. I love this man. And I cannot believe I haven't had him on the show yet. I reference him all the time. I didn't realize my family, turns out they love the camera. Okay, I didn't think that they did. So maybe I'll be having everyone else on at this point. Anyways, we're talking about things that I feel like I've learned from my dad, his childhood, my childhood, all the things. We were playing the family cards from a friend of mine, obviously my brand, and it was just a really fun time. I love this episode, and I think you guys are going to love it. So without further ado, let's welcome my dad on to the show. All right, y'all, we are here with my father, my bestest friend in the whole world, my favorite person ever. He's finally on the podcast. It's way past his bedtime.
Very much so.
So thank you for coming over. Normally you'd be watching SVU.
I would.
You'd be probably sleeping, actually.
Yes.
It's 8:30 p.m. on a school night.
I stay up to about 9:20 because it gives me the full show.
Oh, 9:20.
Yeah.
And then you're out?
Yeah.
That's it?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so we've been talking. Earlier today, I asked him, actually, if he had a pair of Tacovas, because I thought, that's kind of crazy you don't have a pair of Tacovas. And I said, he's like, no, I don't. And he wanted me to, get them sent to him. And I said, well, I don't get them sent like that, but I do have a discount code. I said, Kenzie 10, I don't even think this code's active. And he tells me that. What did you say?
Well, you said it was a 10% discount. I said, well, I could get that on Groupon. And I could.
So you're going straight to Groupon?
I think I could. And get any color that I like.
You might get a better deal than my code.
Maybe so. But you know what? I think I should slow down here and thank Dom and Macy for their sponsorship of me being on this show. And
they're sponsoring this?
Well, they prepared me.
Oh, they did?
Yeah, they gave me a call.
How so they gave you a call?
Well, they didn't, people. But they should have.
You have people.
Yes.
And it's Macy and Dom.
It's only taken me 10 years to get on the podcast.
First off, I've had the podcast for 6 years. Second, you're definitely the most referenced guest or person.
Could be.
You weren't a guest. It's just because, Dad, you're not someone who loves to be on camera. We were saying this earlier. I was telling him off air. My grandma, Micah, you guys know her. I was saying that, for so long she stays with me a lot. So I would just make sure I wasn't putting her on camera because I thought she didn't want to be on camera. And as time went on, this woman was edging her way towards the camera. I mean, she was right front and center there real quick. She started mentioning vlogs. I saw what was happening. So then I was fine with it. But I just didn't feel like you guys really wanted... I didn't vlog much of the family growing up because you guys didn't wanted to be on camera.
No, but my guy, I stood up for you.
What'd you say? I didn't say anything negative. I would never.
No, I know. But, yeah. No, I didn't want to be on camera. Micah
loves the camera. I think after this, you're going to have CAA calling at my door, sending me fees. I think you're going to be hard to get to. I'm the scheduling, the booking is going to be crazy. You're going to send me to a booking agent is what it feels like.
Maybe. So what do you have?
Oh, sorry. I think we should start off with the meth chair story because that's the most recent and probably the funniest. Do you want to tell it from your perspective?
So Kenzie calls me and she says, Dad, we have to pick up some chairs. And I said, well, what do we need to do? She says, well, it's about 10 miles away. So I go ahead and pick her up, and we go, and we're driving. I said, do you know where we're going? We put it on MapQuest or whatever, and we get to this house, and it's a little sketchy, and she says, it's right here. We go up to this front door, and I look to my left, and to the left, there's a little light set or something hanging from the tree, and to the right, there's some chairs underneath it hanging from the bottom of the tree. There's a chair set. I didn't have enough time to say anything to her before she's knocking on the door, and this guy opens the door, and then you can take it from there.
And, I mean, opening the door is generous. I mean, the man, he cracks it open, right? And we get there, and my dad is so, I would say, you're definitely more of a realist. No, I wouldn't even say that. I think that you were just logical in this situation. And I'm here and I'm like, I have found the most incredible antique chairs. Like, I can't see anything other than these antique chairs that weren't even that great, by the way. Like, looking back at it. But I had woken up Monday morning and decided my whole living room was going to be redone by Thursday. And I was really on one, okay? So he opens the door and it smells, I've never smelled cat urine to that extent. Like, it was so bad, but I didn't understand that, like, you could go to a Face It Marketplace pickup and schedule that and do all that. I felt bad because, like, I was using your truck. I had to have you come with me. I couldn't even by myself. This man's schedule. So I didn't realize that I could, like, back out of the purchase.
Well, I'm thinking she's going to back out of this in a hurry. So I'm just sitting back, and this guy's like, "Oh, just 1 second. Let me go get these chairs," thinking the guy would already have the chairs. So he walks and goes and gets these chairs, and I'm thinking, surely she's just going to go ahead and say, "Hey, this isn't a good deal."
Oh, no.
And he pulls these chairs up, and it's smelling so bad, and I'm waiting for her to just back out of the deal.
You would think that I would. I didn't realize that I could, okay? And I'm sitting there, and again, guys, the smell is a really important part of the story. I cannot express to you the level in which these chairs smelled so bad. But as I do, I'm already filling in the blanks for this man. I have already decided that this man, this was his late mother's house, that he is now in deep, deep grief and agony. And he is trying to sell things and trying to get things together. He doesn't have much money. He's heartbroken. He's grieving. I have made a full story for him by the time he's brought me the chairs, okay? So I'm obviously not going to turn away a griever.
Before you know it, we're carrying these chairs out to my truck.
My dad's looking at me and just shaking his head in disgust.
And I'm thinking to myself, what are we doing? But, okay, maybe she sees something in these chairs that I don't. So we open the back end, we put them in the truck, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, well, obviously I missed something, so, okay, she likes these chairs. So we get in the truck.
No, you look at me in the truck and you're like, what the fuck are you doing?
I did exactly that. We get in, and I'm like, did you smell the house? Now smell the chairs.
But I felt bad for him because, like, that has to be embarrassing. So I don't think he was really embarrassed. But I was like, no, like, he's grieving. This man, Dad, you don't understand. So we get there. But normally I would defend what I did. Like, I normally would be like, no, it's fine, Dad. You just don't get it. But it was so bad to the point where I just, like, crying, laughing, and I couldn't stop. I spent $400 on these chairs, okay? They were so bad. And we have about a 20-minute drive back to my house, okay?
Well, it was 20 minutes only because we couldn't find a place to drop these chairs.
Yeah, it was so bad. Because immediately I'm like, I have to get rid of them. This scent, I'm like, maybe we could clean them. And I'm like Googling like cat urine. I'm like, what do I do? Like, I don't know what to do. And I mean, I finally come to the conclusion that, like, obviously I cannot keep these chairs and I can't bring them into my house. And I'm like, I mean, it was so bad, okay? Then I get home. We decide immediately, I think on that way, I bought these other chairs from Target that I'd wanted. We set them on my front, like, patio for pickup. We go to Target, get these new chairs. They're gone within a day.
Which she did not want to put them out in front of her house because she thought her neighbors...
Yeah.
She was worried about her neighbors picking these chairs up thinking that they were out in front of her house.
I'm already really self-conscious of what my neighbors think because, like, I already know that they're, like, confused why I live here. They're just confused about a bunch of things. And I just think I have filled in the blanks on what they filled in the blanks on about me. Like, my neighbors come over and, like, ask me, like, where my parents are. So I'm like, I don't want to, like, add to this. And then, like, there's always something wrong with the house, you know? And it's like, I'm the youngest on the block. I'm like their kids' ages. Like, I don't need this from them. Like, I don't need this. So then I'm, like, publicly humiliated by the neighborhood. That's another thing.
But within 2 hours, they were gone.
They were gone pretty quick. But the real kicker is, this is where the story ends. I post about this on Instagram, and I'm, like, telling the story on Instagram stories, largely, by the way, because I have a couple neighbors that follow me. And I need them to know that these are not from my house. So I posted about it. Honest to God, that's probably the only reason I posted about it. And or maybe I posted TikTok. I get all of these comments from people being like, babe, that's meth. And I was like, wait, what? They're like, yeah, Google it. I Google what does meth smell like, and it's like really, really bad cat urine. And it smelled kind of like bad eggs too at the same time.
It was terrible.
It was so bad.
My truck smelled like it for a week.
Okay, I think you're exaggerating that one. We had
bad.
all the windows down.
Because we had to.
Yeah, that was really something. I'm glad we got the meth story out of the way because that was really something. I learned a lot about Facebook Marketplace and that. I'm the biggest Facebook Marketplace girl. Like half my house is Marketplace. But if you show up somewhere and it smells like meth, like you can leave.
You can. And I thought we were.
I thought you would have told me beforehand for some reason. Like I just had no idea that you could like schedule with someone and do the whole thing and then they could just like turn it down.
We learned a lesson.
We learned a big, big lesson. Anyway, Dad, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
You are very, very well known amongst our house guests here.
Nice.
You don't listen to the podcast, so you wouldn't know that I reference you literally all the time. Have you ever listened to the podcast?
I try to, yeah.
You hate it?
No. I enjoy it when I listen to it.
When you tune in?
Yes.
What episodes would you like tune in for?
Oh, don't do that to me.
Exactly.
I mean, I've listened to it.
In 2020?
You probably don't want your dad to listen to probably half of them, do you?
I mean, I don't say outlandish things. Honestly, Dad, I tell you.
I'll be honest with you. There's sometimes I've listened to them. I'm like, she probably doesn't want me to listen to some of this.
Really? I don't feel that way at all.
There's
I tell
been times,
you crazy things.
at the beginning, I think there's been times.
Because you thought it was bad.
No, it wasn't bad. I just think it was personal stuff that you probably didn't want me to listen to.
That I tell you everything. Like, what have I ever said on the podcast that I don't tell you?
Well, I don't know why I felt that way, so I just stopped listening.
Interesting. Yeah, our family is too close, I would say.
Well, yeah, but I don't know.
We definitely venture. Like, there's a lack of boundaries in, I would say, a lot of areas.
Probably so.
It's crazy because it's like Maddie's favorite word.
You can either be too close
or not at all.
Or not at all, and I'd prefer to be too close.
I agree. But I was telling you, yeah, I don't think there's anything I've said on this podcast that
No, I don't think it was. A lot of it had to do that I was pretty busy too.
You had a job.
Probably, yeah.
You're busy.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. That's fair. I want to give everyone a little background on you, a little bit about your childhood, like where you grew up, how you were raised, what you were into. Mm-hmm. Do you want to give us a little something? Like, where are you going to start?
So I grew up in St. Louis.
Home of Emo's Pizza.
Emo's Pizza, that's right.
Lion's Choice.
Kenzie's a big fan of Emo's Pizza. The family is as well.
Huge fan.
And I grew up, basically my dad raised me. And
single father.
Yep, a single father. I do have a brother and sister that was living with my mom, and we're still very close. But I was basically raised with my dad, and kind of a bachelor type of lifestyle, to say the least.
Yeah.
And I lived a lifestyle of really. It was a great upbringing. He was great. I did a lot of sports. That was my thing, and year round, and
wrestling, football,
yeah,
baseball.
Football, wrestling, and baseball year round. You know, that's basically what was my thing.
I have a question for you. Mm-hmm. So, because when I think about like so many things that I've learned from you, a lot of it has been leadership. Like, when did you even get into that? Because I don't look at anyone else in our family and think that.
I think that leadership came from basically
sports?
At a young age was from sports, and you know, it had to come from the teams that, you know, that I was associated with, and, you know, learning leadership through sports all the time. I mean, the different teams that you're on, you know, learning to lead from the front, or learning to lead from the back. You're leading at all times. I may be the youngest on the team. I remember playing on football teams that I was 2 years younger and stuff, but I was always learning, always watching. And I think that always helped me as I grew older and was on other teams, and it just kind of grew from there.
And obviously Papi did an amazing job, but you didn't grow up with like much. He worked around the clock for you. Papi
was a guy that he would give you, when you hear somebody that says he would give you the shirt off their back, he was that guy. Mm-hmm. And the good thing was he was that guy, but the bad thing was he would struggle at times, but nobody knew that we would struggle. And I never struggled because I got everything that I ever needed or wanted. But I also saw that he struggled, and that motivated me, and motivated me to want to be successful. Didn't want to struggle. That what I could see is him struggling to pay the bills and things of that nature.
Yeah. And then Papi and my grandma, like my dad's dad, Papi, and then Maiga, who everyone should know on the podcast, more so in the vlogs, but my guy is my mom's mom, and they both basically raised us. We actually have so much family lore. I actually can't even get into that right now. That'll be a book deal one day. I was saying this earlier off camera. I'm like, it actually makes me sick that I haven't been able to monetize the childhood yet. It makes me ill.
You'll be able to in a few years.
Yeah, I'll get there.
Don't they say that everybody has to be dead before you do it or something, or what?
Don't say that. I can't wait that long. I mean, we've got fucking bills to pay, Dad. What do you want me to do? I keep saying to all the cousins.
We do have a story.
As you get older, obviously we know all the family lore, all the family stuff, and we were exposed at a young age to a lot of the stuff, right? And as you get older, Alyssa and Austin are my cousins who we're equally as close to. Alyssa and I feel gone on this journey of almost being angry for you guys. There's been something of this is crazy. There's been so many things and I'm God. And recently what I've been saying to them is what we need to look at it is there's a movie in here.
Yeah.
And we can all make some money here.
Yeah, there could be. There's a lot of success from some things that you just wouldn't see that was coming.
Yeah, it was
And
really, really
you're
crazy.
included.
Yeah, thanks. Well, anyways, I am obviously your favorite firstborn daughter.
Exactly. Well said.
It's very well said.
Very well said.
Did you always know that you wanted kids?
Oh, from the get-go.
How old were you?
I think from the existence, I think from 6, 7 years old, for sure. I remember that. Always wanted a family. You always want something that you don't have probably. And, I didn't have a family. It was me and him. And I would always go and visit, my friends that had the typical family dinner at night. And I'd be the odd little kid sitting there with the rest of the family. And my goal was to always have a family someday, that I would be the one to have the family and have the kid that was sitting there to join us and stuff.
Well, you got that.
Yeah. So that was the goal. But for, 12, 15 years growing up, that was my existence. So
I always say I am who I am because of my dad. I am so obsessed with my dad. He's my best friend. And I've been like that literally my entire life. My dad would work from home and he would go in the office and I would go in my dress with a little blanket and I would sit outside the door and I would wait for him and I would be fine. I would just sit there and I would wait at the door. I would wait for him to be done with his work. My mom doesn't love this story. And I do.
Well, wait, let's hold up. So this is a true story.
Okay.
She was probably, this center's around 2.5 years old. When I came home, and I was lucky, fortunate, and it was great love for me to come home because Kenzie would be looking forward to me coming home, and I loved it. So Kenzie she'd come down.
I was a mean child to my mom. I was
Well, you were. And she would come down. My office was downstairs in the basement. So she would have her little sippy cup, and she would hold it close to her chest. And she would climb down, how do you climb down? But she would kind of roll down the stairs. And I would hear her come down, and my door would be closed in the office. And I'd hear her knock on my door. And mind you, she's 2. I'd hear her, and I'd open my door, and I'd say, Kenzie, I got to work. I'll be out in a little while. I'll come and get you. And she would be okay. And so this one particular night, I extended some time thinking that she was gone. And so I came out an hour later, and I'll never forget it. She's sitting there with her sippy cup looking up at me. And it was the cutest damn thing I've ever seen in my life. She just sat there and waited for me.
And I was a really cute kid, guys.
Yeah, she really was. She's very cute. But she sat there and waited for me. But that's how Kenzie was. And Missy used to do some really nice things when I would come home and run errands, or on the weekends, she would get Kenzie all dressed up in a little dress or little skirts and little hats and get her ready. And so she would get her to, ready to go with me, and we'd go and do all kind of errands on the weekends and things of that nature. And she was just prim and proper, and she would be ready to go, and it was a lot of fun.
Always in a dress.
Always in a little dress.
I was obsessed with Cheerios. I think that this originally came from Poppy Don, because I would go to even now when I go to Poppy Don, my grandpa's house, he has Cheerios. We have Cheerios together every morning. It's our tradition. Anyway, I was a child, and I would go up to my parents' room. I would make my dad, and my mom hates this story. I love my mom. We're also very close. I was evil in this moment, okay? I would make my dad and I a bowl of Cheerios.
Well, wait. I gotta enter into this.
Okay.
So Kenzie was vicious on her little baby bed, she'd have these little teeth marks in her bed because she'd get so mad that she was in her baby bed.
I just wasn't born to be a child. Like, I hated every moment of being a kid.
Did not want to be in there, and she'd have these teeth marks all along the railing. Well, she figured out how to get out of her bed. And so it was during that week that she figured out how to get out. She actually would get out of the bed. And so it was a Saturday morning, and Melissa and I, now, before I say this, we're very good parents. I want everybody to know this. But Melissa and I were in bed, and right at the top of our stairs, you could enter into our bedroom. So we heard a little something going on downstairs. It was kind of a smaller house, but it was a 2-story. You could hear some things going on in the kitchen downstairs. And then before I got up, I could see Kenzie coming back up the stairs. She's 2. And she had her sippy cup full of Cheerios. And she's climbing up the stairs. And so I went back into the bed, and I told Melissa what was going on. And she climbed up the stairs, and then she got up in the bed with us and between us. But she turned towards me with her sippy cup full of Cheerios, and she was giving me the Cheerios and kind of put her back to her mom. Mm-hmm. So she's feeding me and herself the Cheerios, and when she was finished with them, God love her, she turned to her mom and handed her mom the cup for her mom to go fill them up.
No,
downstairs
and my mom asked like where hers were, and I said, "Get your own." It's crazy.
Well,
I was just very territorial over you as a kid, and it's come out in like the past year more so. I've noticed it. I think because people just annoy me more. I don't know what it is, but. I don't know. I think as I got older, I was like, well, my dad loves me more than anyone else, so I'm not really worried about it. Like, I kind of knew who called the shots. Anyway, like, I'll come over, I'll do things, and now I'm like, if someone's sitting next to you, even, I'm 27 years old, I'm like, all right, you can leave. Like, I literally will be like, all right, can you move? Like, it's crazy.
But it was really not, I mean, I felt bad for your mom because she was doing everything while I was at work with you, and, you know, it was cute for me, but it wasn't so cute for your mom.
Mom and I had like great times as well growing up. It was just like, yeah, I was just like very quintessential.
But in her
like,
own way,
girl.
she thought it was cute too.
I'm sure. I don't know. She does hate that story, but good news. She doesn't listen to the podcast either.
Oh, good.
So we're so fine.
Very good.
We're actually so fine. Here's some things that I feel like I've learned from you.
Oh, okay.
First thing, hire out. Okay. I was saying this earlier. I haven't seen my dad mow a lawn since 99. Right? It's just not your thing.
Well, I think it was about 99. Yeah, we talked about that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you only have so much time in the day.
Yeah, and money is time.
So that's right. So, you know, you have to make sure that you work smart.
Yeah, exactly.
What else you got?
That was number one.
Okay.
And that's a huge thing because it comes out actually, I would say.
But it must be said that I do enjoy cutting the lawn. I just haven't had time to do it in a while.
Totally.
Right.
It's just like out of all the things I've learned from you, that might not be the most meaningful, but it's been the most impactful. It's been the thing.
I mean,
I've got Reggie on salary at this point, Dad. That's
I think delegation is very critical.
It's very critical. And I find the best people. Everyone's coming to me for the recs.
That's right.
Wallpaper, handyman.
Even I come to you.
Yeah, you come to me.
That's right.
You got my realtor. I've got the best people.
Right.
Dallas Master List, by the way. If you guys go on the blog, if you guys need recs, got it for everything. All right, it's all on there. Number 2, leadership. I always say, I know you don't always like love this comparison because whatever, but the reason I love Ed Milet so much is because you and him are so similar. And I think it's largely because you both are not afraid to cry. Like, I've loved growing up around like men that weren't afraid to cry. I think that was actually like really beneficial for me, like emotional health and like what I look for in a partner and how I picked good partners. Mm-hmm. No. Should we rate them?
Well, we'll leave that for another day.
But I do think it's like a healthy thing. Anyway, but Ed Milet, like we both love that stuff. Cody loved that stuff. Mm-hmm. Like we would always talk about like leadership stuff, like podcasts in that realm. He loves Ed Milet. I love Ed more than you love Ed. Like I'm like still so in it, but you remind me a lot of him. That's why people always ask, because I'm just so like, if I was a man, if I was a 50-year-old man, I think I'd be Ed Milet. Like I think that's where I would be.
I think it keeps you centered. I think you need to be able to be centered in your life and understand where you're going. If you're not centered, how do you reach your goals and understand where you're going?
Yeah.
And I think listening to podcasts, the right podcasts, and what
Not
you're
this
trying
one.
to
That's what he's saying.
and what you're trying to achieve, I think, really can make the difference. You only have so much time of the day, and, all I would say is pick somebody that interests you and kind of has the same goals as you, or maybe you should look for somebody that you should have the same goals as them.
I think a lot of the leadership podcasts, too, are very comforting to me in the same way that, like, I will have, like, ESPN music playing in the background because it's very comforting because that's what I grew up. I grew up, guys. My dad would do flashcards with me, not for the alphabet, not for numbers. It was like Pittsburgh Steelers, Dallas Cowboys. Like it was like a sports household. So like hearing that stuff is comforting, but a lot of the leadership podcasts, I think in a way are comforting because like that was the conversation that I was having with you as a kid.
Yep.
Like so many of those things I learned or you would pick up on. Also, with your career at the time, I feel like it was so leadership focused too.
Right.
Susie Welch, who's the second most referenced person on this podcast after you. I think I told this story on the podcast. Maybe I didn't actually with her. But in December, I took my dad to New York. I was recording a couple episodes. We just like wanted to get away for a couple of days. And I was recording with Susie Welch. And my dad asked me that morning, like, who are you recording with? And I said, oh, Susie Welch. Not thinking he would know who she was. He's like an NYU professor. He's like Jack Welch's wife. And that was who he loved. Like that was like his Ed Milet. He's like, he is Ed Milet. Like that is so your vibe. And he passed away in 2020. It's Susie Welch's like late husband. And it was so cool because he was there and then Susie invited us to her house the next day and it was so cool. But yeah, I feel like a lot of it has been leadership, but so many of the podcasts, I don't necessarily think I'm like learning anything new. I think a lot of it's just like reinforcement and it's like a comforting thing, you know?
I think you're exactly right. I think with a lot of the leadership and some of the gurus that you listen to, you hear the same things with a different spin. In fact, you hear new books that come out quite often and you hear the same ideas just repackaged. And sometimes you think, well, why am I buying this? But on the other hand, it's great to hear the same things repackaged because it reinforces the ideas. And when you do that and reinforce it, it just ingrains in you what you should be doing.
And the next thing would be showing up. When I was really sitting down to think about this, my biggest thing in life that I care about is like the showing up for like the right people in my life. Like I will fly there, I will be there, like that, especially just in the past like couple of years, like seeing what my friends have done for me. Like I'm just so big on showing up and like you've always showed up. Like my dad was at every game, he was always around like every single morning. Whenever I would go to school, my dad would be up like drinking coffee, like reading the newspaper, like we would like have breakfast together or as later, we would go to Starbucks together every single morning. They would have like our Starbucks like ready for us when we would go pick up. But I think showing up was another big one. Yep. You're just like very consistent.
Well, the one thing that I was never not going to do was not show up for an event. My dad showed up for everything that I ever did. I don't think he missed anything. And my goal was to never miss any event you guys ever did. And I don't think I ever did miss for you, Madison, or Cody.
I think maybe that's why I'm so... Even with like Sophie, like my niece, if I say I'm going to be somewhere, I've never told her anything. One time I got sick and I was so sick and I called her like apologized. Like everything, I'm like, I will be there. Give me the schedule. Like it's just, but I get it from you. Yeah. And also I was very close to, I'm still am very close, but I was very close to my aunt growing up. Like she was my everything, which I didn't even realize until you pointed that out, that like I had basically recreated the relationship that I had with my aunt, with my niece.
Yes,
it's the same thing.
Yep.
Literally the same thing.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay. Another one, routines and consistency in a way of like combating anxiety.
Right.
I think I came out of the womb with my anxiety and my dad saw that very young and you taught me like at a very early age, like these are routines and things that you can do in order to feel better and to keep it under control. Like you taught me that very young.
So the reason being is because I grew up with major anxiety, but didn't know what anxiety meant at that age. You know, back in the day, we didn't know anxiety. So I thought it was nervousness. But in our bloodline, on my side, we have major anxiety. And
you might as well fucking write us all a family script.
Yeah.
It's everywhere.
It's incredible. And so I used to think it was in sports. When I grew up, I thought it was just nervousness, being nervous before an event. So for my life, I thought I was just nervous before every sports event because that's when it would show up. But as I grew older and outside of college baseball, that's when it ended for me. And I was like 20 and it kept going. Then I realized it was something more than being nervous. And I didn't know what it was. I didn't know how to classify it. And then I realized it was something more. And I still didn't know what it was until I got older and realized it was, what they classified as anxiety and tried to learn how to cope with it. And so by the time you came around, I knew it was something. And I knew there was ways to kind of cope with it and how to teach you and your sister and your brother on how to go about things. And obviously your mother didn't have it. She's actually the opposite of what
she could use some.
Opposite of what I was, but she was a real good balance for you guys.
Yeah. That's something I say that you and Mom did so well, is that I never felt like I couldn't say exactly how I was feeling. Like, granted, we were in a lot of therapy growing up. There was a lot of things outside of people's control that, like, by no means did any of us have a perfect childhood or a perfect life or anything like that at all. But you guys never made us feel like we couldn't say something. And I'm sure, like, to your detriment, like, you guys really heard it. But I look at my friends who are not close at all with their parents or have, like, very, very strained relationships. And I'm like, if you feel that way, why can't you say that? Like, I could never say that. I'm like, I cannot imagine. I would 100 times go through everything that we went through and have the relationships that we have over versus seeing where they're at, where they have, like, no actual relationship. They can't even, like, speak to their parent. Like, I never, in my life, I've never held back with you guys.
No,
like,
I mean, it's a good question. I mean, we've talked about this in the past, that what would you rather do? And I'd always err on the side that we have, but I mean, there's some errors on that side. So, you got to live with it.
Yeah. We have both. I would say on, like, our sides of the family are very opposite. And I think we have taken after, like, this generation's taken after your family. And I think that's good for, like, where we're at in society now.
I think we're working on it, so.
Yeah, we're doing really great, guys. The actual most impactful thing that you've taught me, I always say, I'm like, I am who I am because I had a dad who legitimately thought I could run for president. Like, I don't think there's anything that I ever felt I couldn't do, to the point where, like, I think I deal with imposter syndrome in certain extents now, for sure. But, like, I don't even think I dealt with imposter syndrome, because I was, like, my whole life I was built up into this healthy confidence. You were also the first person to tell me I was wrong. It wasn't like this delusional, you're perfect, my child's done nothing wrong. I heard it. I very much so heard it. But you were so good at instilling a very healthy, strong confidence, especially in, like, I don't know if self-worth was even, like, intentional, but I just feel like, one, I think your relationship with your dad instills so much confidence in you. And then two, I never in a million years thought that anything that I wanted to do, I could make happen. And I knew that because my dad told me, and that was it. And, like, literally I was like, Bible. Yep, you're right. That was it.
Well, you're easy to work with. I mean,
Maddie wasn't.
Well, we're going to get to Maddie because there was a different skill set with her too. Mm-hmm. So with you were very proper. Your room was never a mess. I don't think I ever worked with you on homework. Honestly, I don't think that.
I was just a child prodigy, is what he's saying.
So look at her over there. But so there was, Kenzie was like the easiest child. We thought, well, this is nothing. I mean, to have a child that she's doing her homework, she's getting straight A's,
she's perfect.
And her her backpack is ready to go for school the next day, and she's very
signs
organized
that your child
and all
has
this
anxiety.
and this and that. And she was just that's exactly right. But she was just ready to go. Everything was on go all the time, and just had her shit together. And so, but the imposter syndrome, I think that if you are an individual, and I think this comes with age, I think everybody that is a go-getter and that really, I think everybody goes through imposter. I think you do. I think that, you fake it as you make it as you fake it, or whatever the saying is.
Until you make it.
And until you make it. Because there is a little bit of that, because you have the drive in you to get there. And nobody has it 100%. You may have it 80%, but you're going to fake it until you get there, right? And so you shouldn't be ashamed of that. And the reason why I instilled the belief in you is because it was instilled in me. And you had that belief in yourself. It wasn't that I didn't. I gave it to you. You had it. All I did was build on it.
Do you think I was born, because I'm just naturally very, very driven. Like,
it's probably the best and worst thing about me. Was I born that way, or did I develop that?
It was instilled in you. You
but
were,
instilled wouldn't be born. Like, did I come out of the womb with this drive?
We didn't have to work with you as far as you were always centered to go get it done. You were ready to go, and you had that seriousness, that focus in you, and that was a good. I always said that you and Maddie. I always thought this is that you and Maddie have a lot of me, both sides. You have the seriousness, the focus, the drive to get it done, and then Maddie has the fun side of me, where she is the
mischievous,
party,
mischievous.
She was the trouble, the fun, the excitement. She's the party.
You know, I can be a lot more fun than Maddie, right?
Well, see, that's
She's
where
not
we
all
have
that
to
fun
argue.
anymore.
See, this is where we go. But
no, but you guys have the same humor. Like, and she is a lot more laid back, and she's less serious about life. For sure.
And she has the laid backness of what your mom can do, and your mom's got a good mixture of it too with both of you and stuff. But it works for both of you, and that's why you both. But I will say this about Maddie: she is driven like nobody's business because she's very. If she wants something, she's going to get it. And
it's very specific things. It's
right.
not always her career. It could be anything.
And that's the thing. She is going to get after it like nobody's business. And if you piss her off, you don't want to be in that. You don't want to be that person.
I don't want to be anywhere near it.
No.
I don't even want to be on the receiving end of the call.
Right.
Where she's calling me to talk bad about them.
No, you don't want to be there.
No.
And so
and she gets that from you.
There's good on both sides of it. And there's some bad too. I mean, for both sides of it, because it can eat you up on your side and on her side. I'm not saying it's always good because I've been on that, and there's some things that you can take back.
Yeah, I would say Maddie is definitely the more like, I don't want to say laid back, because weirdly I'm like, if it has to do with anyone else, I'm actually very laid back. Maddie is more laid back with her approach to life. I would say I struggle with contentment, like being content with accomplishments and like where I'm going in life. Maddie is just like naturally, I think she's just like has a healthier level of just being content. I think she has a healthier relationship with drive than I do, I would say. And her drive comes out in different ways than mine does. Like we both are driven just in different ways.
Yeah, I think that's fair. But both in I think it's in a good way. There's some negative things on both sides.
Yeah, totally.
That,
like Maddie will fight you.
Well, but you there's some things on your side too. Let's face it.
And I am not, and I agree. But
right.
I was just saying my negative. Maddie says that she's going to fight you.
Well, Maddie will kick your ass.
I just said Maddie has a better relationship with being content. She has a happier life than I do. She'll also fight you. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
You do not want to piss her off. That's what I always say.
You don't want to be on that side.
She's calling you out something like they pissed off the wrong person. Like, I don't want her to know anything going. I don't tell her anything negative going on in my life relationally because I don't want to put that burden on her.
Yeah, I get it.
It's a full-time job for her. I mean,
I get it.
God.
Sorry, viewers. We're probably getting off tangent, but
I mean, they understand it. Yeah, so I would say overall, it would just be like my self-belief, like my determination. Absolutely. And I do think Maddie got that in a different way. I think I'm also more like Mom. My mom is an interior decorator. She's very creative. Like, I'm very creative. I get a lot of my design and taste from her, but I get the money making, like the business stuff from you.
I will say this. Your mom, if she is focused on one thing.
Oh, yeah.
And if she is determined to get that one thing, there's nobody better.
Yeah.
She will go after it, and she will get it done. Like, it's nobody's business. I mean, 24/7.
That's where I just recorded a whole deep dive episode on Nancy Myers, and I recorded one on Martha Stewart a couple months ago. And it's like, Aunt Tara's like this too. If I'm interested in something, I have to know every single thing that there is to know about that. Like, we are so all or nothing.
And that's what you get.
That's what I get from them, for sure. Guys, my dad wants me to ask him what he's been cooking lately so he can say this.
Caraway cookware.
No, he hasn't been cooking with Caraway cookware. He's mad because Caraway, like, there's no greater cookware brand in the world. And they, for whatever reason, love our family, so they keep sending everyone stuff, but like, he hasn't.
Everybody has it but me.
Yeah, maybe you're next.
Maybe.
I mean, we can only hope. That, and he wanted a pair of Tecovas. I mean, he's really like kind of whoring yourself
I don't
out
see
here.
it on Groupon.
Tecovas would never be on Groupon. That was just you.
But Caraway's not on either.
I definitely have a Caraway code. Would you like my code?
I'll check it out.
That's not the same treatment.
No.
You're not liking that? I do love Caraway, and it's really good. Okay, we're going to play our family cards, which are available on shopfriendofmine.com. You can use code, I think, HouseGuest for 15% off, but we are playing the parents category. I have some questions. I was asked earlier to not ask the question about what was it like when you found out, like, you guys are pregnant with me, because neither one of my parents remembers. Like, I wrote these questions, not one of them. And my parent, like, my dad loves me.
Who
My
asked
mom
you?
loves
Who
me.
asked you not to ask that?
You. Can
I
you
thought
tell
you said
me?
your mother said that.
Well, no. No. He came over. He's like, can you not ask me that? I don't remember. And I said, you don't remember. Mom doesn't remember either. That's when I realized that, like, it's over.
I don't recall.
Yeah, you don't actually. Okay, well, better. Tell me about the day I was born.
Oh, I remember it. It
Thank
was great.
God. I mean, damn.
Yeah, it was great. You had one grandma next to you. It was,
Micah?
I think, Micah, and then you had another grandma looking through the window. It was like straight on, and I was next to your mom, and then once you came out, they handed you to me, and then I was holding you, and then I got the look from your mom that I better give you to her. Mm-hmm. So that was that's what I remember. But she,
Best day of your life.
oh yeah, it was the best day of my life, for sure. Then I brought you out to Papi Don and Pappy. Yeah, it was awesome. I'll never forget it. That was the first best day of my life.
Maddie
You don't want to
didn't-
talk about the second or
Maddie
third?
didn't make it this far in the episode, so we're good.
Maddie, that's not true.
She's not listening.
She will.
If she sees a clip, maybe.
No,
If
she
knows
will
who's
listen
mentioned. I don't know.
like 2 or 3 times on this one. I'm pretty sure.
I don't think so.
She'll be looking for stuff.
I wouldn't hold your breath for that one. Okay, what would you tell your 20-year-old self?
I would tell my 20-year-old self that it would be okay to not stress out so much. It goes back to the anxiety. That after I stopped playing baseball, that I worked 2 or 3 jobs. I didn't enjoy college at all. To enjoy college, to try to make it somehow fun instead of working bartending,
He worked his way through college. He worked a bunch of jobs. That's why he had fun.
as a bellman, substituting in college. Took me 5 years. All that stuff, it just wasn't fun. And I wish I could have stepped back and say, that's why I wanted it to be fun for you guys. And that's what I would tell my 20-year-old self.
I wouldn't say my college experience was fun either.
Well, you had a little bit better than I did.
I mean, barely.
Well,
was unique.
that's what I would tell my 20-year-old self.
Is there something that you've always wanted to do, but you haven't gotten the chance?
I've been pretty fortunate with everything, and I'm pretty content on a lot of things.
Go to a Steelers game.
Yeah, I'd like to go to a Steelers game, but I'd like to go maybe on an Alaskan cruise, maybe that train through the mountains or whatever.
I want to do the train to the mountains.
Yeah, that's what I'd
go.
like to do. So I think that would be kind of cool.
I just almost was like, we should go. Family trip, like going through. And it reminded me of Maddie and I in high school. We would we would both need to get our nails done. But we would tell you it was the only way we could ever get you to pay for anything. We would tell you it was sister bonding time.
Oh.
And you were just so relieved that we were getting along. And you're like, anything to get these two in a room together and be happy. So we would do it around our nail schedule, and we were both on board.
If you all only knew how terrible of an experience it was for these two.
I think you just took it too seriously. Like Maddie and I, we're comics is what we are. We're comics. We have a very unique relationship. We have a language that no one else can speak. And
Or
that's the
understand.
issue.
Or
Or
understand.
understand. When we tell funny things, Maddie and I talk about this all the time. People just don't get it. People don't get us. Only Maddie and I get each other.
I think so.
Oh, sorry. This one was actually, how did you learn you're going to be a parent for the first time? But you guys don't remember that
I
one.
think you need to ask your mom.
Okay, what's the proudest moment in your life?
Having you 3 kids.
I was thinking something a little more tangible, maybe about more me-centered.
I think you would like that.
Yeah, I would.
In your mind, it is.
Yeah. Can you think of something else? I mean, it could be about me. It's my podcast. Maddie doesn't have a podcast that she's having you on. Think about that, Dad. When's the last time she invited you to work? Like, my God, she doesn't even do men's hair. She specifically doesn't do men's hair.
Yeah, she doesn't do that.
She's tried.
Yeah, she doesn't do that. Yeah, I don't know what to say.
Okay, Switzerland. Whatever. All right. Could you tell me your favorite childhood memory with your parents or your dad?
This is going to be sad, but it's when I was 7 years old, just to have those two together that I
Yeah.
can remember was a nice memory for me.
It happened about 3 times.
To see them together and getting along was nice.
What's so crazy is that his parents divorced at the same age that y'all, like my parents, my dad and my mom divorced at the same age that like Maddie, Cody and I were the same ages as you, Tara and Brian. Isn't
Was
that
it?
crazy?
Is that right?
Same age difference and we were the same ages when you guys divorced. Or
Wow.
no, sorry, no.
No, that's-
Actually, yeah, because Cody was 5. Yeah, you were 5.
Yeah, that's probably right.
So it's actually kinda
I never
crazy.
even thought about that.
Okay, I know the answer to this. That's why I'm asking, because we're also drinking Bud Light. But were you close with your grandparents? And tell us about them.
So I never met my grandpas. So my grandfathers were, I guess I met my dad's when I was like 3, but I don't remember him. And my mom's dad passed when she was
She was
11.
10. Oh,
10 or 11.
close.
And so, but my grandmas they were great. My dad's mom was she was funny, but she was a disciplinary. And my mom's mom was the sweetest lady I've ever met in my life. And what stands out about her is she'd get up in the morning and she would get dressed and put her high heels on and just get all made up just to go sit in her chair to watch TV, when she got older. And she was the sweetest thing in the world.
Grandma Little.
Grandma Little.
She passed when I was like 1, right? I was really
And it
young.
was important, that she held you.
Yeah, I have the
made
photo.
sure that she got to hold you in things. Yeah, it was important to me.
So now, whenever I get married, my dad's gonna live on my property, and have a guest house. Well, have you talked to Maddie about this? I don't know. I mean, maybe.
No, we'll see what happens.
I mean, we'll talk about. I think it's gonna be.
You never know. As we know, life changes quickly.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna have a cute little guest house. I'm gonna have kids. We can do the whole Pappy me thing.
Yeah.
My grandpa, Pappy, he every single day drove us to school. He made our breakfast. He made our lunches, packed our lunches every single day. Like, he was so involved. He still is with my dad. He moved in with us when I was in like 1st grade. He still is with my dad. I mean, he was like so invested.
Involved.
This
Yep.
family is very involved. If we're anything, it is
Yep.
involved.
Took you to school, picked you up.
Yeah,
Everything.
picked us up every day. Then we go to Steak and Shake.
Yep.
That was great.
Yeah.
I look back at the stuff we ate as kids, and I'm like, oh my God, that was crazy. It's like, I think that's just growing up in Texas. Like, it's really wild.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, thanks so much for coming on, Dad. This is, I think, the best episode ever.
Well, I hope so.
Do you feel good about it?
I guess, yeah. We'll see what the viewers think.
I
Or the
already-
listeners. Is
I
it
was
viewers or
talking to him-
listeners?
Both. I was talking to him earlier, and I was like, I mean, hopefully your rates don't skyrocket after the show. I'd love to have you back on for Father's Day. So we'll have to see how that works out.
Maybe.
That was great. All right, well, love you so much, Dad.
We'll have to talk about the fees next time.
We'll discuss. I'll get you in touch with my people. My people will talk to your people.
Awesome.
And then they'll work something out, I'm sure.
Awesome. Very good.
Amazing. All right, well, love you, Dad.
Love you too.
Hope you guys have a fab Thursday, and I will talk to y'all next week.
Take care.